Becoming the victim of a crime can be a devastating event, and the healing process afterward can take time. By empowering victims through this difficult time, Marsys Law allows victims to begin healing. Victims are often unfamiliar with the criminal justice system and do not understand their role or what rights they have during the criminal justice process. Marsys Law provides victims with 17 rights that give victims a way to meaningfully participate throughout the criminal justice process. Marsys Law was passed in 2008. Its creation founded 17 enumerated rights for crime victims in the California Constitution, known simply as the California Victims' Bill of Rights. There are three groups of people who are a victim under Marsys Law. The first is the direct victim. Specifically, that's the person who suffered direct or threatened physical, psychological, or financial harm as a result of the crime or attempted crime. Next are indirect victims. This category includes a direct victim's spouse, parents, children, siblings, or guardian. Finally, a lawful representative of a victim who is deceased, a minor, or who is physically or psychologically incapacitated can exercise these rights on that victim's behalf. Some of the victim's rights enumerated in Marsys Law must be formally requested. It is recommended that victims request these rights in writing, both to the district attorney and through their victim advocate. However, other victims' rights under Marsys Law are automatic and do not need to be requested. While it is best practice for a victim to include these rights in a written request to the DA or advocate, these rights are automatic and apply regardless of whether any formal request is made. Victims have the right to be treated with fairness and respect for his or her privacy and dignity, and to be free from intimidation, harassment, and abuse throughout the criminal or juvenile justice process. To be reasonably protected from the defendant and persons acting on behalf of the defendant. To have the safety of the victim and the victim's family considered in fixing the amount of bail and release conditions for the defendant. To prevent the disclosure of confidential information or records to the defendant's attorney, or any other person acting on behalf of the defendant, which could be used to locate or harass the victim or the victim's family, or which disclose confidential communications made in the course of medical or counseling treatment, or which are otherwise privileged or confidential by law. To refuse an interview, deposition, or a discovery request by the defendant's attorney, or any other person acting on behalf of the defendant, and to set reasonable conditions on the conduct of any such interview to which the victim consents. To a speedy trial and a prompt and final conclusion of the case and any related post-judgment proceedings. To provide information to a probation department official conducting a pre-sentence investigation concerning the impact of the offense on the victim and the victim's family, and any sentencing recommendations before the sentencing of the defendant. The right to seek and secure restitution from the persons convicted of the crimes causing the losses they suffer. Restitution shall be ordered from the convicted wrongdoer in every case, regardless of the sentence or disposition imposed, in which a crime victim suffers a loss. All monetary payments, monies, and property collected from any person who has been ordered to make restitution shall be first applied to pay the amounts ordered as restitution to the victim. The right to the prompt return of property when no longer needed as evidence. To have the safety of the victim's family, and the general public considered before any parole or other post-judgment release decision is made. Finally, victims have the right to be informed of all 17 rights enumerated in Marsys Law. If you have questions about the status of your criminal case or would like to request your Marsys Law rights, please contact your county's Victim Witness Assistance Center, where a victim advocate can help you communicate with the district attorney and invoke your rights. Also, the California Office of the Attorney General will provide information or assistance for cases in which the OAG is prosecuting. And if you want to learn more about Marsys Law, have a question about enforcement of these rights, or would like to get additional information pertaining to being a victim of a crime, please contact the Victims of Crime Resource Center by phone at 1-800-VICTIMS or online at 1-800-VICTIMS.org.